Are you looking for a soft, fluffy, homemade dinner roll recipe that you can make with your KitchenAid mixer? One that will pair nicely with soup or salad or a meat and potatoes meal and taste just as good warmed up the next day? I have the recipe for you, Matrimonial Rolls. And I'm going to show you how to use your KitchenAid mixer to make them. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm here to help you create your slice of country living wherever you may live. Welcome to Chocolate Box Cottage, the sweet spot between old-fashioned values like gardening and cooking from scratch and modern conveniences that make life easier. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Matrimonial Rolls, the most famous dinner roll recipe you've never heard of. This recipe dates back to the 1940s or 1930s or possibly even earlier. My mom told me as a girl when she was growing up that young women were judged for their suitability for marriage based on two criteria: the ability to catch, kill, pluck, and cook a chicken, and the lightness of their bread and rolls. Matrimonial rolls, so the story goes, can help a girl win a husband. And I'm sure it works the other way around too, guys who like to bake. And even if you've already caught your special someone, these rolls might just make them fall in love with you all over again. They're soft, they're fluffy, they're slightly sweet, and they're perfect with any meal. By the way, I created separate videos specific to the Bosch Universal Mixer and to the Ankarsrum Assistant Mixer. So if you own one of those two machines, you can go directly to that video that corresponds with your mixer and learn to make matrimonial rolls using the same mixer that you have in your kitchen. And if you haven't yet purchased a heavy-duty stand mixer for bread making, be sure to check out my video, KitchenAid versus Bosch versus Ankarsrum, to help you make the best decision. Now let's get started. The ingredients we're using today are half a cup of melted butter, a cup of milk, 3 tablespoons of honey, 2½ teaspoons of active dry yeast dissolved in a 1/4 cup of warm water, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 3 eggs, and 5 cups of flour. You can use all-purpose or bread flour. If you like to bake with whole wheat flour, you can find tips for using whole wheat flour to make matrimonial rolls on my website, chocolateboxcottage.tv, where you'll also find the printable recipe. The butter has been pre-melted in this little pan, so I'm going to pour the milk in, and this helps bring the butter down to a temperature that's safe for the yeast. Now we'll add the honey. And rather than dirty up a measuring cup, I prefer to just estimate. Give this a stir. And then we can add this to our mixing bowl. Okay. Now we'll add the 3 eggs. And the flat paddle beater. Okay, turn the mixer on to medium speed and let it mix until the eggs are nicely incorporated. Now let's add the yeast and mix it a little bit more. Okay. Now we can add a cup of flour and the salt. Now we'll turn this on to about 2 and let that mix until there are no lumps in the flour and it looks like a smooth mixture. Okay, now we're going to add the remaining flour about half a cup at a time. So we've got the mixer on low speed and continuing to add the flour. I'm going to lock the head, to keep it stable. And I'm adding the flour in smaller increments now. Quick tip I wanted to show you is how to keep the dough from climbing up the hook into the collar. This is a pretty cool trick. Just take a little bit of butter and rub it on both sides, the underside and the top, and this will keep the dough in the bowl where it belongs instead of climbing up into the mixer. Okay, now we can continue mixing. Okay, the dough is cleaned the side of the bowl, and so I'm not going to add any more flour. I have some flour left in the bowl. I may sprinkle it in a little bit at a time if it's needed, but right now it looks like it is kneading well. We can see the dough developing right in the bowl. It's starting to pull away from the sides of the bowl, and it still looks shiny and tacky. That's exactly what we want to see, and that is the beauty of using a heavy-duty mixer like the KitchenAid Artisan. We don't have to worry about sticky hands. The machine takes care of it for us. Well, now the machine's been kneading for about 5 minutes. We need to get our hands in the bowl and see how the dough is developing. There's no substitute for touching the dough with your hands. What you're looking for is a tackiness on par with a Post-it note. So touch the Post-it note and touch the dough. It should feel really similar. Tacky but not sticking to your hands. That's exactly what we want. You're developing your baker's intuition. It looks like the dough is nicely developed, so I'm going to flip it out of the bowl onto an oiled surface here. There we go. And I'm just going to shape it into a smooth ball with just a few turns of hand kneading. And what this does is it develops a smooth skin on your dough so that you'll be able to make rolls with smooth tops or loaves with smooth tops. Okay, we've got a nice smooth ball there. And I'm going to put it in a buttered bowl. Smooth side up. Now we're going to cover it and let it rise until it's doubled. It's been about 45 minutes and it looks like our dough has doubled. See how nice and fluffy it is? Now to check, we can use the poke test. Just take 2 fingers and press them gently against the dough and take them away. If the dough springs right back to your fingers, you know it needs a little bit more time to rise. If the indentations remain like they are here, then we know the dough is good to go. Plop it out here on our oiled counter, and instead of punching it, I'm going to gently deflate it with the palms of my hands. And a little oil on the palms helps here. Deflate it all over to release those big air bubbles, and then I'm going to reshape it into a ball. This step is optional, but I'm going to give it another rise in the bowl. A second in bowl rise, and this will make for extra fluffy, extra luscious matrimonial rolls. So we just return it to the bowl, put the lid back on it, and give it another rise. This rise is going to go a bit quicker, so I'm going to set a timer and check on it in about 20 to 25 minutes. In the meantime, generously butter a 13 by 9 inch pan. Well, it looks like our dough has just about doubled, and that's exactly what we want. We want to catch it just before it doubles. You can do the finger poke test again if you like. just to get a little practice at it. And then turn the dough out onto the oiled surface. Now, always keep in mind where the smooth surface of the dough is. That smooth top that was in the bowl is now on the bottom, touching the table. So I'm going to take my hands and press it flat once again, pressing out all those big air bubbles. And now for the fun part. We're going to shape our rolls. We have a nice smooth circle of dough, and this makes it easier for us to divide the rolls into evenly sized pieces. Our baking pan will hold 6 by 4, so we're going to make 24 rolls. I'll first divide the dough in half. Each half is 12. And you can use a dough card like I'm using. You can use a bench knife or a chef's knife for this. Each of these quarters is 6. The eighths make 3 rolls each. So each piece like this, each eighth is going to be divided into 3 pieces. There we go. We've got 24 rolls. Now, keeping in mind that the smooth side is on the bottom, we can begin shaping the rolls just by pulling up the edges and squeezing them together, pinching them to make sort of a teardrop shape. Then when you turn this over, you've got this beautiful smooth roll. Well, let's show that again so that you can see it up close. Smooth side on the bottom. And I'm picking up all the edges and pressing them towards the middle and then pinching the top to make a teardrop shape. There we go. And I'll show you a second method of shaping. Keeping in mind the smooth side is on the bottom. Do a little preliminary shaping, then turn it over, smooth side up, and begin to use your hands cupped around the dough to scoot and slide the dough on a smooth surface like a kitchen counter or a cutting board. And this seals the bottom of the dough and gives you a nice smooth roll to add to the pan. I'm going to keep making rolls and fill up this pan. And here's our very last one. Now we'll cover the pan and let the rolls rise. Keep in mind they have already risen twice in the bowl, so this is the third rise. It's going to go very quickly. It may be only 15 or so minutes before it needs to go in the oven, so make sure your oven is preheating while you're shaping the rolls. And the rolls are ready to go in the oven. We'll let them bake about 18 to 20 minutes at 350 degrees. The rolls baked to a deep golden brown on top and a lighter golden brown on the bottom, which is just right. They look so good. Let's try one. You can serve them straight from the pan for supper or turn them out onto a rack to cool. Oh, just look at that. Warm and delicious. All it needs is a little bit of homemade jam. Get your best jam from the pantry for these rolls. This is huckleberry lime. So scrumptious. Wouldn't you be proud to serve matrimonial rolls to your family or to company? I hope you do. Thank you for joining me at Chocolate Box Cottage. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.